Hey everybody, and welcome to Moviegoer. I'm Max Forrest,
I'm Folie.
and we're here to discuss Joker 1.
And Joker 2.
That's right, folks, so strap in, you're in for a wild ride. Woo! Here we have it, folks, the feel-good movie of 2019. Right off the bat, Arthur Fleck, in clown makeup, is forcing his face to smile with his fingers. When he lets the smile go, we see a tortured man. In the beginning of the film, he's outside with a sign in full clown attire. A group of teenagers steal his sign, and he goes chasing after them. They give him a serious beatdown, and Arthur is left on the ground. We now have sympathy for Arthur. On the train ride home, Arthur starts making funny faces at this little kid. The kid is laughing. The mother tells him to quit it. Arthur really can't catch a break. He lives with his mother amongst a Gotham City overrun with garbage and super rats, and takes care of her. He tells her he wants to be a comedian. She says, "Don't you have to be funny to be a comedian?" Real nice. So he takes the subway home, and on the subway, there are these Wall Street douchebags who start picking on Arthur in the subway, to the point where they're really beating on him good. Arthur takes out his gun and shoots two of them. One tries to get away, but fails to, and Arthur finishes him off with the gun. Arthur gets to a bathroom. From what I remember, it was just going to be him hiding the gun, but the composer for the film, Hildur Guðnadóttir, I don't know, I can't pronounce that, sent them the music, this haunting, amazing music, and they were like, let's do some sort of interpretive dance to this. And this great scene, this lightning in the bottle scene, was born. I flippin' loved Joaquin Phoenix in this movie. He won the Oscar, of course. The cinematography was top-notch. The score by Hildur blah 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 is Academy Award-winning good, and won. Everything all the way down to craft services was fantastic. It was amazing all the way up until that wow bit of violence at the end. I saw that the sequel only got, at this time, 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. Should have left alone.
Alright, so first off, this really isn't as bad as the reviews make it out to be. It's not good, don't get me wrong, but it's at least watchable. What's really sad about it, though, is that the cinematography looked great. The lens choices, the composition were excellent. The color grade was really appealing. From a technical standpoint, it was really solid. A lot of creative one-shotters, great set design. You can tell they really put effort into it.
Those were didn't they do musical numbers?
Yeah. You can tell they really put effort into it. Except for the god-awful script and boring dead story that literally circles around to nothing. Ooh. Nowhere. I'm just going to go into spoilers here because, let's be honest, no one really cares.
At this point, after all the negativity...
Yeah. We see Arthur miserable in jail days before his big trial. The lawyer wants to plead insanity that Joker and Arthur are two separate beings. Eventually, he walks past a choir room and locks eyes with Harley Gaga Quinn, or just Lee, as she refers to herself. A couple of boring scenes later, they get a chance to talk. Lee inspires Arthur to bring Joker out. She gives this whole sob story about how she does nothing with her life and her mom threw her in the loony bin, generic stuff. Eventually, it gets told to us by obvious exposition dump that Harley, or Lee, is actually from a rich family and went to school to study psychology, or whatever, and is actually playing Arthur for a fool. She checked herself in to get close to Arthur to use him to make herself famous. He confronts her and she sings a song and he gets distracted and sings along and forgets about it and it barely gets brought up ever again. So, whatever. Bunch of cringy dialogue and an awfully awkward sex scene later. We're at the trial, which, by the way, reminded me a lot of the Seinfeld series finale. It's literally just a bunch of characters from the previous movie just talking about crap that we already saw. Anyway, it's not going well. Arthur, inspired by Lee, fires his lawyer in this big, dramatic, big explosion and declares he wants to represent himself. So he shows up as Joker and digs himself an even deeper grave this time. In a scene that actually played out pretty decent. Joker puts on like this cartoon lawyer accent and questions the little guy from the first movie, Gary Puddles. Joker tries to play it cool, but seeing how much his only friend Gary was affected by his actions, he starts stuttering and realizing he messed up. The guy who played Gary does an excellent job in this scene. Really, the only thing that actually worked in the courtroom drama of the entire movie. It's a tiny glimpse of what could have been if this rest of the movie was actually good, you know? Anyway, Joker gets interviewed by some schmuck for some TV special and goes off and insults the guards at Arkham that abused him, and then they rape him.
Jesus.
Yep. They beat the crap out of him, and it's heavily implied that they violate him in the bathroom. So, the next day...
pay money to sit through that?
So the next day he gives up being Joker, confesses to killing everyone in the first movie as Arthur Fleck. A bunch of annoying musical numbers later, he gets found guilty, then the courtroom blows up.
Nice. Okay.
He escapes.
Well, you get some explosions out of it.
Yeah. He escapes. Some Joker fans help him drive away. He ends up at the stairs in the first movie, you know, the famous stairs.
Yeah.
He sees Lee up there, and of course, you know, she's not into him anymore because he's just Arthur now. He's not the Joker. So she just starts singing and gets, you know, just completely ignores him, and he gets caught again. He gets caught and thrown back into Arkham. Small time jump ahead, and then the ending. And man, I can see why people will be pissed off about this ending. So, I don't know if anyone remembers, but there was a theory about the first movie where this Joker, Arthur Fleck, would eventually inspire the real Joker, the one that eventually fights Batman, you know, the comic one. Well, it's pretty much confirmed. Some fellow that looks suspiciously like the comic accurate Joker stabs him in a hallway and starts maniacally laughing, and as the camera follows Arthur slumping onto the floor, we see the real Joker in the background take the knife and cut his cheeks into a smile and start maniacally laughing. And then it ends. That's it. That's the ending.